amazing in that respect. The other thing is that you are able, if you came into the country without permission, you're able to get um, you're able to get forgiveness for that as well. So even with permanent bars, you're still able to get forgiveness for entering the country without permission. They don't hold working without a permit against you, obviously, because the T status. So I see somebody here asking, is what is the T status? T status is for victims of trafficking. And with the victims of trafficking, it means that you're able to get this relief. Now, if you're new here, you're going to, I know you have in your head trafficking. Uh, how is that? How is that even possible to qualify for trafficking? Probably very few people um, qualify for that. And this is what I want you to know is that the definition of trafficking is broad, is very broad. And it's very broad because there are multiple ways that employers, that individuals get you to do things that you normally would not do, such as labor, and even in some cases, because of, to get to perform sexual acts. So, what I say here is, excuse me. What I say here, and please let me know on Instagram if you can hear me because I just got an interruption. So let me know if you can hear me. Um, but what I would like to say here is that if you have been underpaid, if you've been overworked, if you were in a situation where they lied to you and told you they'd get you the work permit, but when you came, it was a different situation, then T status could very well be for you. If your employer Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you can hear. If your employer told you that they would get you your papers, that's an example of fraud. If the employer told you they would pay you a certain amount, and then when you started working, they paid you less, or they started to deduct payments, or thanks so much, Ahiri, I appreciate that. Or they created promises about a really nice living conditions, or not even really nice, but just basic acceptable living conditions. But you get there, and instead of a room, you have to sleep on the couch, or instead of a room for yourself where you have privacy and humane housing and treatment, you are overcrowded in a room of filled with overcrowded with other workers. Then this is also an example of fraud, right? And that can lead to the T status, because you would have never, the main thing here is you would have never agreed to such conditions, and you would have never agreed to work if you knew that this would be the reality for you. That's what makes it labor trafficking by fraud in many cases. So now that I've explained to you what the T status is, let's get back to the miraculous things that it can do and what it has done for my clients. So I already talked about entering the country without permission, right? That you can get your T status even if that happened. That if you have inadmissibilities, past immigration violations, even in some cases, false claim to U.S. citizenship, types of um, violations that usually do not have forgiveness, right? Where you're barred permanently from getting your papers. In this case, under the T status, once they find that you qualify for T status and they believe, based on their discretion, of course, that you warrant favorable discretion to give you the waiver, then you would be able to overcome that permanent bar or the bars and inadmissibilities that you face. This is something that rarely can, once you have a permanent bar inadmissibility, to other statuses cannot fix it. Marriage can't fix it. Family relationships can't fix it. Getting it through an employer can't fix it. But the T status has fixed it for my clients. So it is a very important form of relief for that reason. And then family members, right? There are an extensive list of family members that may qualify for T status. So, for one, your spouse and children, of course, whether they're in the US or not, your parents, your siblings, if you're under 21, your sibling, if they're under 18 and unmarried. And in cases where you were the victim of trafficking, and one of the reasons or part of the reason that you did not escape, or after you've escaped, you are now facing, your family members are now facing threats. They can come along no matter your age, no matter their age. They can qualify. So this could be adult siblings, parents, children of the siblings, wife of or spouse of the sibling. So your siblings, your parents, and their derivatives can also come on the T visa as well. So it is a good form of relief, and that is one of the reasons I never skip out on screening for T visas. And you would be very surprised how many of my clients do qualify for T status. Because, and I'm pretty sure many of you watching are experiencing these kinds of situations, and you can relate to what I'm saying. Where we are in, when it comes to immigration, we're experiencing a culture of fear. And because of that, unscrupulous employers and individuals and even relatives and friends take advantage of that to use the rhetoric that is going around about immigration and deportation and Trump and all of that, to be able to hold a position of power over you, to get you to continue working, to get you to stay and do whatever they want you to do. And if you're in a situation like that, where they're using your immigration status against you, one, I want you to know that they can't do that, right? They're not supposed to do that, and you don't deserve that. Doesn't matter about your immigration status. And two, you can get relief based on this, because once they tell you to do something because they can report you to ICE, or do something because you're undocumented or illegal, as they like to say, then that means that they're using your immigration status to get you into that situation. All right, so I want to quickly answer some questions. So I'm gonna go ahead and go through each one. Hi there, Rasan. Hi, Temitope. Nice to see you. All right, so let's see. Let's go. It's been qualified for T status. It's almost a year. I did biometrics, not heard back. So, yes, the average processing time can range anywhere from 6 months to even 18 months. Keep in mind that after August, and this is also an amazing thing they're doing, but after August 28th of this year, they're now going to start considering applications for work permits while you wait for the approval. My husband wants to divorce me and forcing me to go back in my country. Is this okay? No, it's not okay. Give us a call. We can definitely talk to you and help you with that situation. And we would love to do that. Um, how long it takes for our work permit when they take biometrics? So from the date of filing, I said 6 to 12 months. I've been qualified. So how do I go and work in the US? I'm in Dubai. You'd have to qualify through an employer or through family relationships. I'm divorced. Can I still get approved for VAWA? If you're divorced, and listen up, this is very important. I don't want this deadline to pass. If you have been divorced for less than 2 years, 2 years has not passed since you've been divorced, and you were mistreated by that spouse, you can qualify for VAWA. Give us a call. Let's get started ASAP. My husband wants to divorce me. Okay, so I answered that. How long does it take? So I answered that. My U visa has been approved. Am I allowed to travel outside of the US? You still have to get a travel document. Please tell me it's 6 years since my USC dad petitioned for me. I'm yet to hear anything. I really don't believe the visa bulletin. I'm already here. If you're already here, you're without status, then keep in mind that it's still going to be a bad situation unless you can find an alternative. Because once you're out of status here in the US, you cannot go forward with adjustment of status to get your green card while staying here. Means you have to go back home. But if you go back home, you're going to face that 3 to 10 year bar, which means that you could be stuck outside of the US and be denied for your papers. So I would say get legal advice, because there is a much bigger issue here that you may not be anticipating. Um, When is TPS deadline? So there are multiple deadlines based on the country that you're from. Go to uscis.gov and then you'll be able to look up the deadlines there based on your country. How long does it take parole to approve? Now, the parole in place, keep in mind that it's on hold. They're not allowed to provide any approvals right now. They are collecting and still doing biometrics. But, in this case, the parole in place, if that's what you're talking about, usually parole in place, the ones I've worked on based on military, the spouse being military member, is 3 to 6 months. How long does it take? So I answered that. Filing for adult child, what's the wait time? 5 to 7 years. I don't know where to turn to. You can always give us a call, schedule an appointment, and we can talk for sure. Hi there. So definitely. So I am not so good. I don't know what to do. I'm in America for about 10 years. Give us a call. While this is not enough information for us to determine what you qualify for, it is definitely a good foundation for me to know that we have helped people in your exact situation. And I would love to talk to you to figure out what we can do for you. So call the office, schedule your appointment, or go to the link in the bio to schedule your appointment. I just got married and my husband don't want to put in the paperwork. He wants to do his mom's own first. What route can I take? So, if you're give us a call, let's talk because I need to know more. This information alone isn't enough for me to advise on. That may be more of a personal issue, right? Where you're trying to negotiate with your spouse whose paperwork should go in first. But your spouse and you could be on good terms, right? Your spouse doesn't necessarily have to be mistreating you. On the other hand, that could be a sign that your spouse is mistreating you, the fact that he's not prioritizing his spouse. Because the minute you do get married, the spouse becomes priority in this case. And I don't know what the reasons are. I don't know the specific facts, but that's definitely a red flag. And you may be able to apply to get your papers without your spouse in a confidential process. But I have to understand what is going on with the treatment. That's going to be key here. Is your spouse mistreating you? If Donald Trump wins these elections, will you be affected by his changes if you have a pending T visa status? So, what I always say here is any changes that are going to be made, they're usually looking forward, right? They can't reach backwards. So you are getting your papers in before that happens, or before if that happens. We don't want to speak anything like that into reality. We want to keep up the energy to be able, and I can go on and on for another half an hour about this, but we need to keep up the energy and the support and do our part to make sure that does not happen. For those of you who can vote, right? If you are not able to vote, you are not a US citizen, I know that you really do have to be on the sidelines. But for my fellow US citizens, we need to show up and make sure that doesn't happen. Now, As I said, though, you are still better off getting your papers in, because any changes that are going to be made, it's usually looking forward, it's not going backwards. So you are actually better off having your documents in and having a chance at getting your approval, getting your decisions before any changes can impact you in the future. So that would be my solution here. Another thing is, the solution is not going to be to sit in the shadows and wait and see what happens. You are at no more risk now, or no less risk. You're not at, or you're not going to be at more risk if you apply than not, right? Just sitting there and doing nothing and not taking proactive measures to figure out what you qualify for, it means you're a sitting duck and you are already at an elevated risk for removal or deportation. You're better off being able to show that you qualify for a benefit than sitting there and not having anything to go on at all, not even anything to defend yourself, to say that you do deserve to be here and you do qualify for a benefit, or applying too late when, yes, the policies have changed, or where you are applying too late to the point where maybe the decision makers are not going to hear your voice, right? We have an administration in place that really their hands are tied, but they have implemented good policies that are fair to immigrants, that are really trying to get them the status they need to be here, to live here, and stay here. So I say take advantage of it now, because you are putting yourself in a better position. You're empowering yourself to do that now. So I would say, don't, your plan should not be to hide in the shadows, because you are going to be at risk anyway. You're going to be at an even higher risk then as well. So keep that in mind. I just got married and my husband don't want to put in paperwork. Okay, so I answered that. Let's see. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to see you. I'm just scrolling through to look at more questions. If one has applied for asylum, then in process got married, and I just said status to I-130, is there a way to be able to clear asylum, and will this person be able? So this is a more, and this is why I say you really need to think hard about applying for asylum, because this is going to be on the record forever that you applied for asylum. And when now you've changed your process to the marriage-based process, yes, there may be questions that come up about the was the nature, why was this application submitted if you said your fear was you could not go back to your country. And that could be seen as a frivolous asylum application, which means that you could be barred from getting final approval for anything. So it's very important to keep in mind that are now, some people and some notarios, by the way, you have to watch out for that. They just say, just apply for asylum so you can get the work permit, right? I don't do that, because I know that 3 to 10 years from now, you're going to get a terrible surprise. You're going to be referred to court and deported. So it's similar here, right? Where if you just apply for the work permit and then your circumstances change, but you never took into consideration the fact that you can't go back to your country because of what that says. If you go back to your country, because remember, asylum is you are not safe in your country, so you can't go back. So if you now do that, you get married and now you want to cancel the asylum, it could raise questions in your application process in the future, either when you're getting your green card or when you're getting your citizenship. What's my number? If you go to the profile page, you'll see my number all over the videos. It's in every video, in every description of the video. It's also, if you go to the link in the bio and you go to the website, the number is there as well. So you can access that number at any point and give us a call. We are available 24 hours. And guess what? You can also DM us and they will DM you whatever you need to know about the firm. So send us a direct message no matter where you are on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Go ahead, DM us there and we'll answer. I just got married. My husband don't want to put okay, so I answered that. Let's see. My case has been actively being reviewed since April 2024. No update. So yeah, that happens. So don't hold your breath. That's my advice here. That can sit there for 9 to 12 months saying that. So don't hold your breath. If your processing times has gone over the average processing time, you can give them a little nudge through the USCIS tool, processing times tool, and that may push things along. Hello, can I get a 212D3 waiver from overstay and go back to B1B2? So it's not that simple. My general answer would be no. Usually you'd have to do that at the embassy. And then they at that point, they're deciding whether they're going to give you back your visa. But keep in mind, an overstay may not necessarily mean an inadmissibility. Overstay, though, could indicate to them that you're at a higher risk for staying in the US when you get a visa. So your risk of being denied is going to be very high. I applied for PIP and have my receipt from the application. So, yes, you now my VAWA case is still pending. I have prima facie determination, biometrics done 1 year and 1 month, just applying for 360, no request for evidence. Okay. So, I mean, I guess you're just telling me I got my biometrics, but the date is past. So, I, it sounds like you're just telling me what's going on with your case, but I don't know where the question is. Now, the PIP, you got the receipt notice. You may be scheduled for a biometrics, but for right now, they're putting a hold on answering questions. All right. So, unfortunately, I have to head out to my next appointment. Um, but what I would say here is you want personalized legal advice, please go ahead and give us a call, schedule your appointment so that we can help you. We are getting booked out. There are three of us now, and our calendars are filling up. So I am expanding the resources so that we can help as many people as possible to get your papers, get your work permit while staying here. So please take advantage of that. Schedule with either I know that my calendar is already filled up, but we have Attorney Bria, we have Attorney Diana, and the three of us do work very closely to make sure that we're helping the right people and getting everybody the relief that they need. So give us a call or go to the link in the profile to schedule your consultation. That's how it's going to start. All right. Thanks, everybody. Uh, Now I will see you tomorrow. I'm going to aim to come on tomorrow. So I'll look out for